Okay, the camera's running. You know, just tell the story.
Well, I don't know where to begin. The last 6 weeks are just a big whirlwind. Everything's closing in on me. My life has become one panic attack after the other. And now, with so little time left on this planet, I feel like I have to get it out. But I'm not any good at this. Okay? I don't know why I ended up in this position. I'm not a writer. I'm not a journalist or a leader. I'm just a guy who thought he did what he had to do, and now look where it led. I mean, look.
It's all right, Charles. Charles, have some tea. Collect your thoughts. What you have to say is important, or you wouldn't have contacted me. Now let's just calmly start at the beginning. What happened to you? Start the first day of the whirlwind.
My name is Charles Parsons. After my wife died, I started to volunteer my time at Restful Acres, a retirement home down the street. I guess helping the very old to come to terms with their approaching deaths helped me deal with Lexi's passing. I wasn't in good shape. The hopes and dreams that I had all died when Lexi died. I mean, the church had always helped me in the past, but for whatever reason, after Lexi died, everyone's sympathies and the biblical reasonings of my minister just left me aching, hollow. Sorry, where was I? Oh, right. Anyway, so I thought I was doing some good there, and although the false happiness that I showed the seniors seemed to fool everybody, I mean, inside I was deader than a doornail. But one of the old guys there, Martin Slovechka, he was one of my people. We each had a group of 5 or 6 that we personally assisted and listened to and talked to and played card games, watched TV, you know, just the day-to-day interaction stuff. You know, anyway, when I first met Martin, he seemed to be there for some rehab from fall, I guess. He had had a stroke several years before and had lost some of the function in his limbs, but he was still bright and relatively healthy. Well, I noticed that he started to look a little less healthy each time I came to visit, and his energy level was way down. I mean, the doctors and caretakers of the home assured me that it was natural, you know, all just due to the painkillers. But I found out that they were giving him antidepressants, antipsychotics, anti-anxiety meds, sleeping pills, a lot of other drugs I couldn't even name. I mean, I started to become really concerned that Martin was being drugged to death. I did some checking, and he had no one else in his way of family who supported him, visited him. You know, he had no one, and his health plan was running on empty, if you know what I mean. I mean, next time I came out to Restful Acres, I found Martin out in the hall, slumped over in the wheelchair, barely functioning, and it took some time to wake him, for him to figure out who I was. But he reached out and he touched my hand, and right then, it was like software being uploaded. A plot developed in my brain. Thinking back on it now, I have no idea where this crazy plan came from. I mean, I'm not a creative person. I've never intentionally broke the law in my life. I mean, so I entered the building, I said my hellos to the staff, and then I went to find Martin. And there he was, slumped over in his wheelchair, looking like a corpse. I woke him and he looked me right in the eye and said, "Do it." I went around to several of the vents and set off smoke bombs, and I pulled the fire alarms. Staff members started running everywhere and yelling to get everyone out of the building. I quickly wheeled Martin out to my car and I put him inside. And just as the firemen and the police were arriving, I rolled away down the street with Martin lying in the back seat. I was now not only a criminal and a kidnapper, but with the Constitution fully gutted by all the anti-terrorism laws, I was a terrorist. If caught, I could be held without a lawyer and tortured for the rest of my life. So anyway, I snuck Martin into the back of my house, and we laid low for days. I had to go back to Restful Acres on my regular schedule to avoid suspicion, but it was very difficult. I'm not a good liar. Very quickly, Martin was animated again and full of life. It seemed like a miracle. But it was then that we began to talk. And this is where the whirlwind really begins.